Let's see. Okay. Alrighty. So Cancer, this one is for you. Greetings. That's you, Cancer. This is Tarot Lumination, and this is your mini general kind of spiritual broad spectrum report for August 2018. Before we get into it, I just want to give you a little bit of an appetizer, some hors d'oeuvres here, just for fun, because we did it with all the other signs this month. I'm just sharing some of my personal notes because August is like an intense month here when it comes to the planets and everything, okay? Just so that you know. So let's go to Cancer. Here we are. Let's have a look. These are just my doodles, okay? You know, it's a complete mess, but it might make sense to somebody. So that's you, Cancer, and this is for the August 2018 season. And the key date that we're going to highlight here is the new moon eclipse in Leo, August the 11th, and that's happening in your second house. Okay, that's right here. So the, sort of like an extremely crude chart would look something like this. And I'm emphasizing the eclipses here. If you think of this like a clock, tick, 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 tick. Sorry, tick, 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 tick. What is being eclipsed out of your life, and what is being eclipsed into your life with this very powerful new moon eclipse here? Okay, Sun, Moon, Mercury, North Node, all activated simultaneously. Also, please note that you just had your Cancer new moon eclipse in early and middle July, and we had the Leo Aquarius eclipse at the end of July. And some of these angles and planets in the background are still hovering and in some ways creating havoc, but also doing a lot of groundwork that's needed for our evolutionary journey. Okay, these eclipses are very much like going through the high security systems for immigration at airports and things like that, where once you've committed yourself to living your journey and you move forward, the eclipses are like these gates. Once you cross certain gates, you don't go back. You keep going through, and things are different when you come out the other side. So without spending, okay, so okay, a couple of things about the Leo new moon eclipse here. It's in your second house. So what are we talking about? Themes, for example, values. Okay, also values, gifts, assets, talents, your self-worth, your sense of self-worth, your worth, money, your things, your stuff, your possessions. Also very physical. It's very, very physical house. Your senses, the sensuality, your connection to earth, nature, planets, land, animals, and all of that. It's it's being lit up right here. So what is being eclipsed into your life regarding money, values, and talents? What is being eclipsed out of your life? How is that affecting you? How is that affecting your deep relationships with significant others when it comes to intimacy, shared resources? Okay, you might already have had a glimpse of that at the end of July, and over this 2 week period in the early part of August, you might be starting to understand and integrate what that truly means, because then you're coming towards the end, middle, and end of August. A couple of things also about August. When we're in the middle zone here, there are 6 planets retrograde simultaneously, okay? That's an awful lot of retrogrades at once. So you might feel as though your life is being ground down. So if you please don't take it personally, please imagine that you are in kind of lockdown over at security and clearances and TSA and customs and immigration, and they're checking you out. It's not personal, it's just what happens, okay? So they're frisking you, empty your bags, empty your pockets, show us your resume, your life path resume, your past life resume, and we'll check it out. And whatever is not yours is removed. Whatever is yours comes to you. Okay. You can even prep yourself for this eclipse by saying, please, dear angels, please bring to me that which is mine. Please remove from me that which is not mine. Thank you very much. And then bring it on. Allow that to happen. So you don't have to fight this thing. Another curious point you might be interested in is that, guess what? This is not a love and relationship reading, but there is a huge stellium of Capricorn energy here in your 7th house of like marriage, significant others, open enemies, the best and the worst of relationship. Not on and on top of that, so that little stellium, it's a fleeting thing, but it's like really strong around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. And interestingly enough, it's very strongly supported by this really powerful Earth trine, which is very beneficial for you, Cancer. So even though, there's a lot of challenging things going on with this big, like hard angle square stuff here, you've got, it's very faint on here. I didn't want to put too much in the image because I'm just trying to focus on the eclipse. The eclipse is enough to handle. But in the deep background, there is a big fat water trine. I don't know if you can see it. It goes from here to here to here to here. Uranus and Taurus, sorry, Sun in, it's going to be, well, sorry, it's going to go from here. Uranus in Taurus, Sun in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, all at like the single degrees, like 3 or 4 degrees. So that's very harmonious, supportive, good, solid, grounding, earthy energy for you, which you might really appreciate, considering you're under so much pressure in your fundamental relationships. Pluto and Saturn are still there. They're going to be there for years. So get used to it, okay? These are big evolutionary changes, but they're happening at the speed of a glacier. So might as well, just get used to it. Don't take it personally. And the retrogrades are going to make it feel slowed down even more. Sorry, this was a very long intro, but I felt I really had to indulge you, Cancer, because it was kind of a breakout month. You wouldn't think so, because like you wouldn't think of it as like the Leo season is for Cancer, but it really, really hits you in some very serious hot spots this month. So cards are well shuffled in advance, but I'd like to go to, do it live in front of you guys so that you're witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Wish we could do more, but there's not enough time and everything. Please bring in your invisible friends, your guardian angels and all that, and make it a team effort, okay? Group thing really, really helps here. It is a group thing in here, Tarot Illumination. I bring in as much as I can of my own team, so to speak. It just enhances everything. It makes it a richer experience. Also watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Do that stuff, especially if they're all different, and then reinterpret the whole thing to suit you. All right? And even cross-watch if you want for the significant others. Then you can get a feel of what they're having to deal with. Okay? All right. Cards are well shuffled now. Give me just a second here. Okay. So here we go. Bless these cards. Bless this deck. Bless this reading. Bless you, dear Cancer. Bless all this internet and these cables and wires and cameras. Bless it all. Okay? It's a miracle we can do this anyway. Let's have a look here. Over here is the core heart energy of you. Okay? Without this, there's nothing. Okay? So the closer you are in your like egoic waking 3D self to the deep core heart, body, mind, soul energy here at the very core, then you have a chance of what you could call a good life or a better life. If you're seriously out of sync, then the chances are you might have maybe some excitement and drama and lots of ups and downs, but you could also be setting yourself up for a lot of pain and evolutionary suffering. And you don't have to always evolve through pain. You can evolve through joy. So people do that. So this is like a message to you. You'll see it. We're using this beating heart spread. You'll see in a second. Over here, this is legacy energy. What are you bringing in with you? Imagine you're at a meeting with Tarot Illumination. We're hanging out, sitting down. And Tarot Illumination says, okay, well, what you got? What's going on, man? What's going on, lady? And show us what you got. Empty your pockets. Show me your resume. What's going on? Tell me your story. Okay, it could be past lives, it could be current lives, it could be stress from the eclipses, whatever it might be. You might have got really, really slammed on the July new moon eclipse in the middle of July, July 12th, and it's going to really, really amplify in 2019. So you're getting a glimpse now, like the setup for how your life is going through evolutionary gateways into next year. Okay, over here is the present, the energy of now, the ever present now, where we own our power. Now often a lot of people find it very hard to be there because It's like if things are very, very stressful, or we would typically want to check out or self-medicate or dwell in the past and blame the past and then project onto the future, anything to avoid having to be totally grounded, present, conscious, and here. But this is where your power lies, and your power lies in the amazing facility that we have as human beings for conscious decision making. It is in the decision-making phenomenon that we get the chance to love thyself, okay, which is the most important thing you can do on this planet, which has a side effect of being the best thing you can be for others. Love thyself. It creates this auric field around you. So how do you make these decisions effectively so that it actually works for you, which means it works for others, so you're living your best life. And in so doing, creating consequences, okay? Now, if you abdicate all this and you think you are the master of the universe and all you have to do is press buttons, and if it doesn't work, you blame it on fate. If it does work, you take all the glory. Fine, but there's so much more going on, okay? Just want to allow that. If you totally abandon the present moment and, continuously conduct oneself as a victim, then, again, you're going to get consequences, but it'll feel more like fate. It's just that you're making a decision to not make any decisions, and then all your decisions are made for you by circumstance. Okay? And who needs that? Childhood programming, past life issues that have not been resolved, all of those things. So what happens when you're in the zone, you're in your power, you're making the decision to love thyself? What does that look like? What happens when you're out of it and you're abdicating? What does that look like? It's the same energy, it's just one is the inverse of the other. We're setting up the momentum here, the prospects for the next beat. So I'm hoping you sense this as like a pulse, like doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. The heart is pumping all the nutrients that you need into your life and removing all the wastes to the waste systems, and it creates this glow, this electromagnetic aura, which permeates into your physical body around here, which you would observe as your life, okay? And then that creates an auric energy around you, which is what others pick up on and how you are perceived, okay? And of course, it's permanently in a state of flux because it's always changing. And so it's very important that you own all of this. Let's have a look. Let's get started here. Let's look at circumstantial energy and make the best of it, okay? With the Nine of Swords here, my feeling is that all these planetary activities right now, for you, dear Cancer, have triggered like all these perhaps very deeply buried, lingering issues that are basically things that you don't want to deal with because it's very, very stressful. Like with the Cancer new moon eclipse in July, that would have triggered things. And we're coming up into the middle of August, a month later, it's still eclipses, 3 heavy-duty eclipses in a row. So I think you're feeling it really strongly and seeing that in your environment around you in terms of how you relate to money, how money relates to you, how other people's resources relate to you, how you relate to other people's resources. And that can be very, very stressful. When money issues are highly stressed in a person's life, it can trigger phenomenal amounts of stress in the physical body and the mind, okay? Now add on top of that, you had the new moon, Cancer new moon eclipse, and we're still moving on. And this was a precursor of what's going to be, what you're going to be dealing with in 2019. And that might have really shaken your world enough to scare you. And also we got the Capricorn stellium coming here. So you might be feeling it very strongly. A lot of like reflected energy coming back to you from perhaps a significant one or some very, very significant one-on-one people in your life, like spouses, brothers and sisters who are deeply contracted with you by blood, and business relationships, things like that. It might all be piling up. And so it might look like very, very stormy weather for you going through August. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if you looked at all the charts in detail. Pretty much the whole of August is impacted by the turbulence coming from this T-square here, this one and this one. And on top of that, the eclipses, and on top of that for you, Cancer, it's the stellium over here. So that's a lot of pressure, okay? A lot of pressure. but you can handle it. Okay, this is just weather. It doesn't own you. All right, what's pumping in your heart here? Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. So with the judgment card here, my feeling is that this is very much to do with the eclipses, and it might be a very crushing, humbling experience. If you go back to the analogy we're talking about earlier, when you go through these gateways, okay? And the beauty of this thing is that it's like the eclipses force you onto your evolutionary pathway, and it might be very, very uncomfortable. Most people, when they go through these massive like border checkpoints in life, I don't know if you've ever had to go through one, but if you have, you know very well what Terra Lumination is talking about. It can be very, very frightening. And even if you haven't done anything wrong, it can be just terrifying to have to go through these gateways where you're literally like, it's almost like, but at the soul level, it's like your body, mind, heart, and soul are being scanned for anything that is not yours and not good for you, that can be deleted and removed, like baggage you don't need, spiritual leftovers, whatever that might be, and opening up the gateway for what is coming to you. And so you could feel like you're being frisked. My luggage is being inspected. All my personal belongings, all my paperwork, all my deeply private, deeply, deeply private personal value and values, money, bank accounts, relationships are being examined and exposed from up above, like X-rays. And the beauty of it is that it's like the heart knows this, and the heart knows that this is very, very good for you, Cancer. And the heart, I feel, is like saying, let's bring it on. Let's just get on with this freak show and get through this thing so we can come out the other side and start our life. Because I think things will settle down a little bit more in September, towards the end of September, once we come through the eclipses. But right now, this is almost, to me, feels like traumatic, like that feeling like going through the gateways. And then it's very, very liberating because you know you're going to get to the other side. But the heart is like already sensing the liberation and the freedom, the redemption, being forgiven and forgiving, like forgiving all and blessing all your enemies and receiving blessings and forgiveness from your enemies, like the wars are over and a whole new life is beginning. Redemption, redemption, freedom. So this could also link to the Mars and Aquarius thing, freedom fighter. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, like to me it feels like, oh, thank God this is about time. Like it's almost like you've been fighting for this for so long as the vigilante, having to be the truth, the truth caller for yourself and for others, bringing in all these highly stressful events, circumstances, feelings, situations, relationship dynamics, financial issues, your values, your sense of values, and how it's all being upended, tipped up, and transformed. And you've had to carry yourself through this with great courage and enthusiasm as a truth vigilante, because anything less than like almost like absolute truth is going to get found out as you go through these spiritual gateways. So it's almost like, to me, it feels like you're exhausted. Dear Cancer, you're exhausted because it feels to me like you've been carrying this energy, not just for these last few weeks or few months, but it almost feels like lifetimes for me. It's just like, I'm sick of it now. Like, okay, it's great being a freedom fighter, truth vigilante, and all that for myself, for others, and evolving the world and everything. And I'm still here and I'm still going. But honestly, to do this, you have to be aware when you go through this kind of stuff, you expose yourself to a lot of flack. You expose yourself to a lot of this. If you think of this as, in terms of the military or something, like when you are determined to live your life to your truth, your honesty, your freedom, the way it needs to be for you, adhering to your truest values and your truest dynamics when it comes to relationships and love and all of that, it means having to almost like go to war and face all the bullets that are coming at you, whether they're legitimate or real or just your fears, and then getting through it and coming out the other side. So what about now? See, it's worth it. My gosh, it's almost like, see, with the Pentacles, King of Pentacles here, right now, it feels like you've already got some kind of validation going on. You might actually be in the vortex here. Like if you, again, think of it as that threshold going through, coming out the other side of these ecliptic gateways, you've already got it locked down. Like the master of manifestation here. And in terms of money, like you're getting a whole new glimpse of money, your value to the world, other people's value to you, your values, and how they have stood up and withstood intense pressures and crushing circumstances for so long. And you're still in it. You're still, it's almost like you're still being ground through it, but you know you have created a certain amount of enduring strength, value, and values, and wealth and prosperity for yourself. And you can see it somewhere in your life, maybe your bank account, maybe a retirement fund, maybe a job prospect, maybe some kind of thing that indicates like three-dimensional um, a manifestation of good decisions through extremely challenging circumstances. So I'm very, very happy for you, Cancer, to see this card here. What about, it's almost like knowing that you've got some kind of bedrock stability that you have created through your own efforts in the face of all odds, facing all possible challenges, bullets, and odds, and you've come out through the other side. You know you're going to come out the other side, okay? You can already see like the promised land ahead of you and beyond you in some way, form, or other. And you already know there's going to still be a lot of change in that's going to be happening anyway, because those eclipses are coming in 2019. But for now, we've got some good old-fashioned bedrock solidity and stability here. So that gives you a like a breather, a moment of self-assurance that you're going to get through this, so you can start to make again more healthy, self-loving decisions. So what does that look like? It looks like from here you're starting to see the new landscape unfold in front of you in very let's say realistic terms. No more daydreaming and fantasizing about things, actually turning things into a solid three-dimensional reality in ways that you might have never had the chance to do before. And it is long overdue and it is long in the coming, but it's actually seeing it. It's right there. It's starting to come in the horizon. It isn't just faint like glimmers and hopes. It's actually there. You're actually seeing it come in like the consequence of good decisions coming to you. And so that inspires you to keep going. To me, this is very, very encouraging endorsement of having made good decisions, which would encourage you to continue on whatever uh, paradigms you've been using to craft your decisions here, to love thyself. It's almost been brutal to do this and have to do this, but it looks like you are prevailing. So how do you do this? How do you continue this? Okay, it's just like bring it on. In other words, you think it's almost like in some ways it feels to me like you know you're kind of in the ecliptic vortex here, coming in one side, going through the other. You know you will prevail, but you know it feels to me like you still have a lot to do in front of you, where I feel it's all about like total upgrades to new higher standards and ways of being, which are in some ways very hard to maintain for yourself and maintain for the world and maintain for others, but it's what has to be done. And it means being very trusting of your own counsel, being extremely good counsel to yourself, understanding that you have learned the hard way what it takes to get through to your life to this point, the way it is now, what's coming from the other side. You might have endured intense, crushing challenges, and now you have the chance to come out the other side with the wisdom that comes from such crushing challenge. And so please understand when you're making these decisions, seeing your consequences come through, there is no, there's no, you can't just put everything on autopilot and say, I figured it out now. Now I can kick back and go on my Hawaiian cruise or something like that. No, it means like you're now in a position of authority and power. And when you're making decisions, it means keeping going. It's like it's the heavy burden, the heavy responsibilities that come with wearing the crown. But there are certain, let's say, rewards that come with wearing the crown. In other words, a lot of people don't want to do this. They don't want to be this. They would rather someone else handle this kind of load and then live under that umbrella. But you're the umbrella. That's what it looks like here. The strength, the power, the knowledge, the wisdom to go forward, knowing deep down in your guts, no matter how scary it is right now, you're going to be okay coming out the other side. Okay, so you are creating consequences here. Let's have a look. What kind of energy? Look at that. Oh, you got the Ace of Cups here. My gosh, it's almost like, I mean, who would have guessed? So this is almost like an amazing formula here to actually like create this, to actually open the gateway for this to happen. Maybe you already knew this. Maybe you already knew that this is what's waiting for you on the other side. And you just had to do what you had to do to get through all this, to come and get yourself aligned, to be on the receiving end of this. This is amazing. My feeling for you, Cancer, is that you get to be a recipient of love and healing. You get to be on the receiving end of the healing power of love coming into your life from up above because you have endured all of this. You've gone through incredible shock and awe and pain and perhaps lifetimes of brutal war against oppressive energies, situations, people, circumstances. Um, that basically cause a lot of pain, but you found a way to handle it and you have prevailed and you have the stripes, the credentials, the history, the wisdom, and the substance to prove it now. And then that becomes a literally like a badge of honor. It's almost like this becomes, it's almost like you could turn this into a badge or something that you could put almost like military grade. Like you have this, like this would be the ultimate award that you could get for battles of life and war that are worth fighting. Like when you have this on your lapel, on your pocket, or in your wallet, you have one of these. Like it's just amazing to have that. It's like it's totally worth it. Whatever you've endured. I'm sorry, Cancer. I don't know why I had a little bit of a kind of a surge moment right there because this feels so strong and it feels like you've been through so much pain and you know there's more to come and you will be the master of this. But however, you have earned your stripes and you've come out the other side and you know that this is worth it. It's worth it to you. It's worth it for the planet. Okay. So what happens if you choose to ignore this, or you're not even aware about how amazing this is, about how amazing you are to have lived through this, and you just continue as though life is just like some kind of bizarre amusement park ride. You lose it all. It's like you lose all the power, all the light. The lights go out, okay? It's like it would be kind of tragic. So to me, this feels like a very extreme reading, highly polarized, like yes, no, in, out, off, on, and so on. But the beauty of this is that when you are in the zone and you understand and respect yourself, love yourself systematically, methodically, conscientiously, deliberately, with the wisdom that is required to do this, then you get the light, you get the power, you get to be a beacon, you get to be a lighthouse of love. You get to be like literally like a fountain. That's how it looks to me over here. Actually, there's a little, there's a song. What's a love is a lighthouse, my dear. Okay. Anyway, there's one of the songs on the Terra Lumination song playlist. It's called the chorus line. Your love is a lighthouse, my dear. Your love is a lighthouse, my dear. So it looks like you found a way to generate love and bring the healing power of love into your life so that you can like own it and broadcast it outward, literally like a healing balm, like a healing force of light. Okay. Consequently, let's look at the momentum going forward here. So my feeling here is that you have to be careful going forward when you come out the other side of the eclipses. My feeling is that you're still going to meet resistance because it's almost like the brighter you shine, like the what is that thing like Marianne Williamson said, I think it was, or attributed to Nelson Mandela, like you're supposed to like shine your light the best that you can, regardless of how you might feel awkward and embarrassed to do that because you don't want to expose others for their lack of light or something. And the thing is that you you live your life to the best like this, become a light, become a lighthouse, become an instrument of the healing power of love. But the thing is with that, people who are against it, who are live in the shadows and they don't want to evolve, they don't want to grow, they could become very combative. I'd uh, become like enemies in such a way that they will do what they can to take you down because they don't like your light. They don't want you to shine. So you have to be very, very aware that even though you have this, which is amazing and it's beautiful, and you've come out this, it actually can trigger like a backlash in anyone and everyone who does not enjoy the light. They don't want the light. They don't want to grow. They don't want to evolve. They don't want to expand. They don't want to know about the healing power of love. They don't want to become a lighthouse themselves. They want to stay how they are, in control of their world, how it is. And, it's futile. So there's no point in you dimming your light to accommodate those who don't want the light. Don't even waste your time or energy there. Just keep going, being you, doing what you have to do, and it's their own problem. If they choose not to evolve, then that's their loss, okay? Surround yourself with love. Be that lighthouse. Allow yourself to receive all the love that you need and just keep going. Well done. I'm really happy for you, Cancer. This looks like it was a very, very tough reading, but it's worth it. Okay, I'm just going to leave this like that, and I'll stop talking now, and you can reinterpret however you want. Okay. Okay. Thanks so much, Cancer. Bye bye.